Weathergang.com. We've got a splendid weather pattern continuing into the work week. Yes, we start warming up further and further into the work week we go, but dew points stay awesome. It is going to be comfortable, late summer warmth, and we will talk about this kind of chilly air, crisp September fall-like air that does work its way out of the region maybe by midday tomorrow. It will feel a little bit more like September, a little bit more like late summer. Danny Hale, thanks for joining on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, X, and Facebook, as well as Instagram. I'm Camden Walker for the Capital Weather Gang. We're at WashingtonPost.com/weather anytime you need us. DJ, hello, Haley. Good to see you. And DJ as well, and Rocco. All right. So pleasant week continues. The weather continues by kind of late Thursday into Friday. Clouds return a little bit, maybe humidity a little bit on Friday. Rain chances, maybe a stray shower Friday, but honestly, rain chances look limited and arriving again maybe by this weekend. We could use some rain before then, but that's what's looking like for the atmosphere giving us at this time. It's going to wait until, if not, we get a chance Friday. More likely the weekend we see a little bit of rain chance. Hopefully we could use it. Paul, good to see you, and Ruth Elisa on Facebook, and Julia, thanks for tuning in from YouTube. All right. Chilly night ahead. We even have some frost advisories and freeze warnings in two counties of West Virginia. So that is early. That is notable. And even for some of your plants, if you can move them indoors west of I-95, some places will get below 50 degrees. I know there's kind of a sensitive threshold for some plants around 50 degrees, but not anywhere near a frost or freeze advisory for us in the immediate region. But it is worth noting as we get kind of this being our first frost and freeze warning, what the difference is as we get closer, an inch closer toward the end of the growing season. But this is early. We normally don't even have to talk about frost and freezes until October, if not November. So while this is early, this could be just a small hiccup, especially with frost advisories. The growing season is likely not going to be ended with just one night of light, patchy frost potentially. So that is one thing worth noting, that a freeze warning is more likely than not the end of the growing season in those two counties, Franklin and Monterey area of West Virginia. So that's just a quick review as we get a little bit chilly tonight, but warm up pretty quickly tomorrow, with temperatures again heading toward 80 degrees in many spots. Comfort levels remain awesome. Dew points are very dry, very low. Maybe on Friday, we start getting above 60 degrees again, with moist becoming unpleasant on our emoji scale down there. But really, even as we get warmer this week, I just want to convey it is going to stay pretty comfortable. Late summer warmth, yes, but not that typical summertime humidity returning anytime soon just yet. Precipitation remains very limited, even though we could use additional rain before rain chances increase by this weekend. Maybe a stray shower chance Friday, but I see that as unlikely at this time. And it's very sunny this week. So remember, if you're out midday, please continue to use that sunscreen through, honestly, even early to mid-October. The sun is still strong enough to cause some sunburn if you're not careful. So very clear skies continue for at least until maybe Thursday. We start seeing additional clouds move in. Cloudier, a little tinge of humidity Friday. Maybe off and on clouds this weekend with off and on rain chances possible, but again, nothing but brief, and not really long lasting rain as it looks now. We're on the edge of this rain shield that could potentially give us some showers this weekend, so not much to speak of. Subject to change, being on the edge of a system, of a low pressure system, does give us, there could be some changes. So do stay tuned as we get closer to the weekend. The rain amounts could go up or down, and we'll keep you posted. And we're watching the tropics as well. That hopefully maybe sends us some tropical moisture if this becomes Francine. Maybe by middle part of the week, Louisiana and Texas will see some heavy rain and some maybe flooding downpours, and some tropical storm winds are possible in the area. And it's not sure yet if, first off, this has to become Francine, a tropical storm. And the first advisory, I think, was just issued on this being a potential tropical cyclone. It's not even named yet, not even officially a tropical depression. But the National Hurricane Center is giving us a heads up about that and the Gulf of Mexico there, and also a couple more systems. The main development region of the Atlantic has become active. So, right near the typical peak of hurricane season, September 10th. So, we are not too surprised to see an uptick in tropical formation potentially this week. All right, so looking ahead toward next work week, temperatures probably above average, precipitation below here. Not a clear signal. It's not leaning either way, above average or below average. Pollen I discussed in today's PM update, along with soil moisture and drought situations in yesterday's PM update. So see my last two PM updates over this past weekend here at WashingtonPost.com/weather. And I've had to use eye drops today because of ragweed and grass. I'm sure my fellow allergy sufferers don't love this secondary peak in grass pollen, kind of together combined with the ragweed pollen that is typical for this time of year. All right, let me check your questions and comments on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. I'm Camden Walker for the Capital Weather Gang. We're at WashingtonPost.com/weather. Splendid, nice day tomorrow. Great September weather continues. All right, we've got Ruth Elisa. Those freeze warnings are in West Virginia, well away from the DC area. I know, Eric, hard to believe about a frost advisory after your high there in the valley of 78 degrees. This is very dry air, which is exceedingly comfortable even as we get warmer into the middle part of this week. Hi, Peter. Thanks for tuning in. Henry, I'm sorry to hear on the football news there on X. Thanks for tuning in. Ruth Lee, so you're watching on YouTube and Facebook tonight. Excellent. Yep, Mike, patchy frost possible there in the Shenandoah Valley tonight. All right, Mark, I agree. The sun is still intense, so please keep using that sunscreen and take it easy as we get warmer in the middle part of this week. This is still strong sun for this time of year. Don't let the temperatures fool you. That doesn't affect your need for water consumption and sunscreen or sun protection during the middle part of these days. All right. Hi, Culpepper. Good to see you, Steve. Delightful. Wish it could stay that way all week as well today. It was a 10 out of 10 for me today. David, good evening. And Ruth Elisa, frost and freeze advisories. One more chilly night before we warm up into more late summer warmth. But frost and freeze advisories are along and west of I-81, generally speaking, west of the Blue Ridge, along and west of the Blue Ridge tonight. So nothing in the immediate suburbs of DC expected tonight. But I've seen some gardeners wisely talking on today's PM update there at the top. But the comment section was very interesting that I was learning from my fellow gardeners and readers and users and viewers that some plants below 50 degrees also don't respond well. So bring those plants that might be a little sensitive to cool 40s potentially in much of our region tonight. All right, Susan, I don't think it's too late to get to the beach. Crowds are lower, prices lower, water temperatures are still warm. And let's see, Paul, Annapolis on Saturday, off and on rain showers can't be ruled out, Paul. So stay tuned as we get closer. Medium confidence at best regarding those rain chances for this upcoming weekend. David, a nice transition from summer to fall right now. I'm glad you're enjoying this weather. Indeed, allergies are affecting me and my fellow allergy sufferers for grass and ragweed. We'll go over that one more time in a second. And Cyrus, I have good news about the drought. It is going to improve. It looks like October, November is when we can expect more reasonable, consistent improvement in our drought. But there's a potential for rain chances this upcoming weekend. Fingers crossed. Cold and a lot of snow, Karen. I think it's too early to talk about the winter just yet, but that is a good question. I'll show you the fall where fall temperatures and precipitation are leaning because that's got better confidence being closer than winter prognostications. So here it is, the national view of temperatures, most of us leaning or probably above average for temperatures. The East Coast here below is going to lean above average for precipitation and fairly likely there in the southwestern United States for below average precipitation for September, October, November. That's meteorological fall. All right, we're watching the tropics. We've got potential tropical cyclone 1, which could eventually turn into a tropical depression. And if it reaches tropical storm status, it would be the F name storm, which is Francine, and two other storm potential disturbances that we're watching for this upcoming week. All right, Fall Foliage Netco on X. Thanks for tuning in. It's on track. I don't think it's too early yet, but let me know if you see any. I did check fall foliage reports, and I didn't see indications of any just yet. But I'm going to continue to watch that in the coming weeks. Don't worry. Let's see, Brian Koopa, thanks for tuning in on Instagram, and Larry and Micro and allergy sufferers. I feel you, by the way, with ragweed and grass pollen that we've been talking about. Rick on Instagram, I agree. It's gorgeous weather. Yes, indeed. Carol, good to see you. Fortune, Allison, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X tonight, making sure I've caught up on all your questions and comments. So, yeah, indeed, Netco on X. We will be sure to, in the coming weeks, talk about fall foliage. It's patchy at best up in Maine, I think, at this point. Diana, good to see you in Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Nice evening there. Please enjoy it. And yep, warmer this coming up this week, warmer temperatures. But heat waves are becoming exceedingly less likely. Our average last 90-degree day is around September 12th, Rick. So I got to give you that. Hi, Deidre. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate seeing you. All right. I think I've caught up on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube comments at this time. Lindsay from Facebook, amazing day there in Arlington. Could not agree more. All right, let's keep reviewing. Let's go outside the tropics, but we are watching the potential tropical cyclone in the Gulf of Mexico, maybe turning into Francine, tropical storm, or even a hurricane before potentially striking Louisiana or Texas later this week. Looking into the mid-Atlantic, temperatures are leaning above average, probably above average for temperatures for this upcoming work week. And then for precipitation, there's no clear signal either way at this time. Pollen that I am suffering from, moderate in the grasses, and there has been some off and on ragweed as well. And then for the drought and soil moisture, I went into that yesterday in the PM update, and I detailed more on the pollen situation for today's PM update. So please see my last two PM updates on WashingtonPost.com/weather. I'm Camden Walker for the Capital Weather Gang, and and the outlines here indicate how drought is focused west of town in more West Virginia vicinity. But soil moisture and the yellows and oranges indicates gardening and farmers, you're going to have to keep watering a lot this upcoming week because rain chances, unfortunately, don't come back into the picture until maybe this weekend. So that is unfortunate. And here's the precipitation format this week above and what clouds might look like this week. Very sunny through Wednesday, maybe a few clouds Thursday, and more decent cloud cover Friday, maybe Saturday. And the weekend, I don't know yet. It's not high confidence whether or not we see clouds or sun dominate, but off and on rain chances are possible as we see very few dots of moisture for this upcoming week in the DC area. Not going to add up to much as it looks now, but it is subject to change. Please stay tuned as we get closer to this weekend. We could indeed maybe see a little bit of tropical moisture come toward our region, but we're on the edge of this shield of potential rain, so it is likely going to go up or down. I don't want you to take this as a sacrosanct gospel high confidence forecast. And even at that, it is very light rain in the forecast through the next 7 days. And rain chances at best, a stray shower maybe on Friday. Mainly, we're looking at Saturday and Sunday for the next rain chances and not high rain chances at that. All right, so let us look at the comfortable dew point scales. I can tell you, even as we get warmer into the middle part of this week, well into the 80s, in fact, it is going to remain at worst Friday, maybe 60 to 65-degree dew points, and moist, unpleasant. So a dry heat, a dry warmth as we get warmer into the middle part of this week. Maybe 60 dew points come back into the picture Friday into the weekend as those tiny, hopefully moderate rain chances maybe grow into this weekend. But right now, it's not looking like high rain chances or high humidity as it stands now. All right, Scott, I will look at the track with you, but so far, for the tropics question you have, We're watching what could potentially be that red X there in the Gulf of Mexico. That's potentially Francine, if the F name storm does come to develop. But right now, it's not even a tropical depression. They're watching it at the National Hurricane Center. This track is generally kind of north northeast toward Louisiana and Texas. It's too early to tell with any sort of confidence if we can get some of that moisture into our region by this weekend. It's possible, but it's really not it's not worth forecasting, putting into the official forecast just yet. And these other two systems, red means a decent high chance of development, and that orange one behind it near the Cabo Verde Islands, formerly known as the wow, I just blinked. That's terrible of me because I've learned now at least learned the newer name. But that orange shading does mean that there's a moderate chance of development. And generally, you see the area they could develop in the general track is kind of west northwest, but too early to say. Really not worth counting on any sort of U.S. Impact or land impact just yet. All right, windows are open for David. You're loving the cooler weather. Paul, you're most welcome. Yes, Paul, tell your wife we are looking forward to the first frost as fellow allergy sufferers. I love that. Yes, it is hilarious. We've got pollen in the air and a need for water below here. So ragweed and grasses are still kind of coming together to create one last nice allergy season here in September into maybe early October. And then we've got soil moisture lacking in much of the region, even though that the red orange outlines indicating more established drought, those are staying west of DC, mainly into West Virginia. That's where the exceptional, very severe drought area is right now. All right, so Nikki, leaves are thinking about turning, but I haven't seen any official fall foliage reports outside of Maine being a little bit patchy right now. Hurricane season definitely has been a little more quiet near the peak of hurricane season around September 10th here, Doug. I agree with you, but it might be catching back up, and I see activity continuing toward the end of September. There are decent indications that Atlantic activity bears watching. All right, Antoine loves this crisp weather. It's going to get a little less crisp by kind of tomorrow afternoon. I think we could, let me put up the temperature animation here for you. It's still a very nice day tomorrow. A little crisp, chilly, seasonally wonderful for long sleeves tomorrow. But we kind of catapult well back up into the 70s, if not 80 degrees in many locations tomorrow. And then it really turns into late summer again. So our fall feels to the air, the fall vibe kind of disappears by midday tomorrow. But even as we go well into the 80s this week, I can't emphasize enough how dew points stay so low. It's going to be really hard to notice. It's still a very nice September air mass until maybe Friday. We see dew points get back above 60 degrees. All right, let me check. Mrs. Smith goes to Washington. A little bit of a fake fall, but at least no heat wave behind it. Thanks for tuning in from Instagram, Mrs. Smith. Katie and Jilfu and AS Stephen and CMC, thanks for tuning in. And Hui Z, good to see you there. And I've got Hannah, too early to say exact tracks into next weekend for our tropical systems, but we'll review that again in a moment. I'm on the air another 2 minutes. Time has been flying for our weekly Sunday Sunset chat, or 20 minutes flying by for our Sunday Sunset live Q&A. I'm Camden Walker. WashingtonPost.com/weather is where you can find us at the Capital Weather Gang. I'm on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram, making sure I've caught up on your questions and comments as best possible. And thanks for fellow allergy sufferers dealing with allergies. I feel you drinking my water tonight with ragweed and pollen and grasses in the air. Michael, you're most welcome. David, a little bit of dry heat is kind of how I'm saying it this week. Even though it's not going to be too terribly warm, but well into the 80s with low dew points. I mean, that's pretty dry late summer warmth around here. We'll take it. We'll take it. Yep. Skywalker Beth knows 80 with low humidity sounds lovely. I think it's a nice day tomorrow. Please get out and enjoy as best as possible. Don't forget that sunscreen. The sun is still pretty intense this time of year. David, you're most welcome. Michael, most welcome. Tyler, I think we do need those first frosts and freezes, which are more typical of October and November to really end allergy season. So I think in West Virginia, those two counties near Franklin and Monterey, West Virginia, with the freeze warnings tonight, that generally speaking ends the growing season there. So Fellow allergy sufferers like me, we need to quickly go visit that part of West Virginia and probably experience better allergies starting tomorrow with lower ragweed and grasses that are typical. But speaking of typical, generally speaking, October, November is what we're looking at for our typical first freezes for this, end of the growing season. So these are a little early west of town, and I don't see any more in the near future. So frosts still have a chance for rebounding of our gardens and farms. So hopefully not a season-ending event outside of maybe Franklin and Monterey, West Virginia tonight. But I wanted to show you it's one more chilly night. Is it's close enough to just make note that it is a little chilly. And dew points stay dry this week, very comfortable even as we get very warm. Precipitation is lacking, which is nice for outdoor plans, but we could use some of this rain. The soils are getting pretty dry. It's very sunny this week until maybe Thursday late and into Friday. Rain chances start returning. Maybe a stray shower Friday, but mainly this weekend is what we're looking at with only medium confidence at best. Light rain amounts right now over this weekend forecast, but stay tuned as we get closer. We need to see and get a little better fix on where things lie at the end of this week. All right, I'm signing off. I'm over my time, but it's a pleasure talking to all of you for my weekly Sunday Sunset Chat for Capital Weather Gang, our 20-minute live chat on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. I think I've caught up. Thanks, Chico, Pab, Kashuka, Wendy, Pinkira, This Obscure, MMOR, HMP. Really appreciate seeing you tuning in. And David doesn't mind a rainy weekend. We could use it. And Tyler, there's a chance we see some of this Gulf of Mexico moisture, this Gulf system, get intertwined and trained into our otherwise a low pressure system coming out of the Mississippi Valley. Maybe we get enhanced rains this weekend, but way too early to say, and low confidence at best. Diana, thanks so much for tuning in. All right, I have got to go. I'll see all of you after another lovely week ahead.